over the years. Well, with me in the studio now here in Washington is Saruhan Hatipoglu. He's the CEO of BERI, which is a risk analysis firm, and also CGTN's global economics analyst. We have the task of talking about something which has really yet to happen. So let me concentrate on the tweets that have been going out. President Trump, on his way to Osaka, was tweeting and criticizing the Japan-US military alliance. He was having a go at Chancellor Merkel in Germany, saying she hates the US, and even Prime Minister Modi in India over increased tariffs on US goods. Now, we're quite used to these tweets here in America. What does it tell you that he's doing it going into this crucial meeting with world leaders?
Well, we're used to them, but when they happen so close to a very important allies, one just has to wonder as to what is going in President Trump's mind here. And I think a lot of people are hoping very nice things to come out of G20, and I think it will. We'll talk about that later on. But the onset is pretty troubling because we have seen this before Argentina too. There were tweets on the way to G20 meeting, and it didn't end well. So the fact that this is happening to the allies, I think, is something to be cautious about as to what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah. This is a bit of a laundry list, but he's already met, I think, with the new Australian Prime Minister. He's going to meet with the Prime Minister of Japan, the Chancellor of Germany, with Putin and the Brazil leadership as well. Which of those is the most important at this time?
I'll add President Erdogan meeting on the sidelines too. I think
Turkey.
That's also for Turkey. And I think that is really important. Let me start with that because it's the S-400 purchases from Russia, which is truly threatening the relationship between the two countries. So that's a very important one. I think, of course, the most important meeting is going to be between President Xi and President Trump. Hopefully, what we're hoping to see is not a trade deal because we have to be optimistic. We didn't have a trade deal after a great steak dinner in Argentina. What makes us think that it's going to be accomplished over some great food in Japan? All we want is, at this point, a pause in hostility. Hold your fire, get your team, continue talking, have the markets calm down because the markets are keenly watching what's going to happen. If something negative comes out of that, we will feel it on Monday morning, John.
So you think a sort of an agreement to not do any more harm to each other's economies and to continue talking is probably the likely outcome?
Best case scenario, yes. So I will stand by that.
Why did Mnuchin, who's the US Trade Secretary, suggest this week that a deal was 90% there?
Well, I'm not sure if he meant for this current deal because he corrected himself afterwards when the news was reported. He said, I was talking about the trade deal before. We were so close to it. We were almost 90% there. And then China decided that they would add certain things. And we didn't know what those things were. We did not hear from the Chinese side nor the US side what those differences were that this trade agreement did not take place. Because as you recall, IPP protection law was being considered in China. Forced technology law was passed, making it criminal for countries to force technology transfer in China. So things were going well. So we don't know exactly what happened, and that's why I'm not too optimistic that a trade deal is going to be signed in this meeting in the next couple of days.
Even though we are told that the two men get on famously, President Trump time and time again refers to his relationship with President Xi, and he says, I like him very much. I assume he likes me, he says. I mean, you've got to assume that a personal chemistry can achieve quite a lot.
It does, but I'm not sure he likes President Xi. He respects him, and I think that's a different thing. He said on many occasions that President Xi is representing China and I'm representing the United States, and we have to consider our national security issues. So based on that, again, with what we have, or what we had in Argentina, how things went bad, I think we're going to come to a full circle. We're going to restart talking, but I don't think a final deal is going to be agreed upon at the end of this meeting.
Okay, well, you are the first analyst on this subject over this weekend here, but you will not be the last. We'll be talking about it a lot more.
I'm pretty sure.
Saruhan, thanks very much. Thank you.
Happy to be here.